All right, all right. Welcome back to the Military Retirement Podcast or the Green Law Book or on Facebook, the Military Retirement Podcast Facebook group, wherever you are watching this right now. And we are currently live and on the line with Wayne Terronez. So, Wayne Terronez, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you are a retired E9 Master Gunnery Sergeant. Is that right? And you're
Yeah,
running a new
man.
program, which is kind of exciting when you told me about it. You gave me a call about it. You're like, hey, what do you think about this? You bounced some ideas off me. And I'm like, I think it's a great idea, especially for folks who are getting out. And it's specifically for first termers, right? It's called Transition Tribe 2045. And Wade, I'm going to basically turn it over to you, man, because I really want to hear, I'm excited to hear about what this is all about.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, Transition Tribe 2045. I retired 2 years ago. And in the last 2 years, I've had a lot of individuals have problems transitioning out of the military. Retirees, first termers, no matter your rank, no matter your gender, your age. And I was like, I thought about it and I was like, well, how do we solve the problem, right? So we have Wounded Warrior, right? For Wounded Warriors, that's great. Obviously, you have a great mission. You have Till Valhalla that, keeps the memory alive of veterans, that are killed, commit suicide. I'm like, okay, all that stuff is great. But I'm like, but no one's doing anything to prevent getting to there, right? So the root cause, I was like, what's the root cause? And I was like, you know what? We spend a lot of time, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks, being indoctrinated into the military way of life.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we get out, we get 1 week.
That's right.
Of classes.
We do. Yep.
So
and it's all like a flood,
it doesn't make much
of
sense.
information.
Yeah, you have six to 13 weeks to change you from a civilian into the military mindset. But coming from the military back into the civilian transition, you get 1 week at best.
That's it.
I'm like, that's problematic. And then here's the deal, is that week, you're not paying attention. You got people calling you saying, come back to work. You're excited to get out of the military and go into the next chapter. So you're really not focused. And then I looked at the statistics, right? So suicide in the military, it's predominantly Caucasian middle-aged males in rural areas. So I'm like, okay, so you get a week to transition into the civilian world, and you got to do it alone. I'm like, there's no, you wake up the day after you get out, and you're like, okay, well, what do I do? There's no concern. There's no, oh, I see. There's no one telling you what to do. Yeah, I mean, I did 29 years, man. And I was like trying to navigate the VA, trying to navigate medical dental, right? Going to college, getting a job. Yeah. So I'm like 48 years old and I had a challenge. So I said, well, then these 22-year-old young men and women, our most valuable asset, 0.04% is the number of people that serve our country, less than 0.5%. So I'm like, these are definitely the finest young men and women we have. And they get 1 week to transition. 1 week in classes, right? And then we send them home to embark on this journey all alone. I'm like, we got to do something about this. Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is, as like retirees, we're both retirees, right? So we had several decades to network with folks, several decades to learn our job. And it's not easy to learn a job all the time, right? I mean, you need some time and then you move on to the next enlistment and then you refine those skills, right? You move on to the next PCS location, you refine those skills in a different location. A lot of these folks, a lot of these first termers, they serve their 4 years. Really, it's with terminal leave, and if they do skill bridge and stuff, it's really 3.5, maybe 3.5 years. So they have that under their belt, and then they figure out, what do we have to do next? And you, as well as I, know that 1 week isn't enough, especially with doing 4 years or 30 years, whatever it is. 1 week isn't enough to prepare you for the emotional and mental transition and finding a job and learning a new skill and going to school and dealing with the loss of tribe and camaraderie, we know that it's tough all around. It's all encompassing. So my question is, exactly what is your plan with this whole Transition Tribe 2045? Like, are we assigning mentors to folks, or how is that going to work?
Yeah. So transition tribe, to cut on that real quick, because I really didn't explain it, was we need a tribe, right? You need a tribe to
Yeah.
raise kids. We are very camaraderie focused in the military. So I said, okay, a tribe. We're going to transition together as a group, right? So what the vision is I will get a group of 5, no more than 10 young men and women that they'll form a transition tribe together, right? Um, they'll get out of the military, and they'll form a tribe in the civilian sector, and they'll
Hmm.
transition together, right? They'll do it all together. So we have a curriculum. So we plan on, reinforcing communication skills, right? How to talk, how to present yourself, how not to curse, how not to use jargon, right? And then if
That's
you
right.
want to talk about
That's tough.
how to, oh heck yeah, uh, then we're going to talk about how you have to take all that you've done, all the responsibility, all the great things you did in the military, and how to
Hmm.
transition it to civilian verbiage, right?
Right.
Because you can't say I led a platoon, of 20 guys, right?
Yeah.
You know, under my
It's got to be
tutelage,
specific.
I supervised 20 individuals, and
That's right.
we increased the efficiency by 50%, right? And then obviously, have them practice and role model with each other, um, interviews, right? And then have a military veteran or retiree that
Hmm.
has successfully transitioned kind of be the mentor or the facilitator,
Okay.
right?
So
So
it's follow on to the TRS basically. You have
yeah.
somebody assigned to you to walk you through the entire thing. Because I for one, I know that interviews are tough. They're different from doing like
Mhm.
NCO panels and stuff like that, or promotion panels. They're completely different. At this point, you're asked to answer questions on the spot regarding your leadership, regarding things that you've
Yeah.
done, right?
And
Not like
you have
knowledge questions. Go ahead. You still up there, Wayne?
yeah, you have and you're doing it together. So you have
Hmm.
a group of your peers around your same. Yeah, I'm still here. I got you. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I think the audio might just be delayed. Yeah, you can go ahead, run with it.
So you have a group of like-minded, same age, same experience, peer teaching each other and talking to each other about their experiences, right? Good and bad. Hey, I had an interview today. I did.
All right, we're gonna get Wayne back up here, but I'm very curious about this whole mentorship thing because that's one thing that I think we're definitely missing as we transition out. I know for myself, I had a very tough time transitioning out, and especially like with interviews. Recently had a couple interviews, but they were here. Let me get them back on there. They were super tough, only because I don't think I was fully prepared for that. If I had a mentor, I believe that that would help me out 100%. Even after 20 years of service, I felt like that. But go ahead, Wayne. We lost you there for a second. I was explaining about the importance of the interview process here and having a mentor for that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you're a young man and woman. You're helping each other, right? Peer teaching, and then you get to talk about it. Hey, I had an interview today. And then I was like, hey, how'd it go? What do you think? And then you kind of talk to them and say, look, I had the interview. Here's how it went. Here, and they're like, okay, cool. Here's some things you might want to consider to improve. Here's some things that we think we went well, right? So you're getting
Hmm.
positive feedback, right?
Right.
And the thing is, There's actually a GAO study that came out and said that the military needs to address mental health in transition. And it's not just mental health when it comes to stress, it's mental health in terms of transitioning out of the military.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's just
100%.
it's interesting how we take 6 to 13 weeks to train you to get in the military mindset. We train you for war. Um, we get you to realize the importance of teamwork and camaraderie, and that's important in the way of getting out.
It
But we
is.
don't
Yep.
teach you how to transition from the military mindset to the um, civilian mindset, or to understand how the civilian world is different than the military.
It is. It is. So that, especially like in the workplace, right? I mean, it all depends. Blue collar, white collar jobs. If you look at getting into white collar job like IT, maybe you're in an office setting. There's different ways you conduct yourself aside from other than being in the military. In the military, we joke a lot. We let things slide a lot. You can't say a lot of the stuff that you say in the military in the civilian world, man. Unless you're working in a civilian or a military setting. But yeah. I mean, go ahead and tell me more, man. I'm actually curious about part of the name that you came up with, Transition Tribe 2045. Um, how what's with the 2045? How'd that come about?
Yes, that's funny, man. I looked at 2030. I looked at 2050, and I
Mhm.
said, okay, when does a young man, um, because most of the military people are men, percentage, and women. I said, well, when's full maturity? So for a young man, um, it's about 43. So I said, okay, cool. The guy gets out of the military. The young man gets out of the military um, this year. 21 years from now, he's fully mature. So I'm like, 2024 plus 21 makes him 43. That's
Mhm.
2045. So I said,
Okay.
okay, transition tribe 2045, because by 2045, if he's 22 today, um, he's full mature at the age 43 in 21 years, which is 2045.
Okay, I see that. I see that. I wasn't sure where you got it. I figured, 2045, it gives you 20 years to kind of build this thing up. And I'm like, I know you want to build it up quick. Um, so yeah, all right, good. Transition Tribe 2045. So how far are you into this? Like how have you established like mentors? Have you established like people to help you out with this? Like where are you in the works?
So we're really early in it. I have
Mhm.
mentors, right? I have people that would like to volunteer to be mentors.
Yeah.
Um, I've built a Linktree. I have Instagram. I have TikTok. I'm not doing a website right now. I'm just focusing on social media to get the word out. Um, actually, I do have a Linktree. We are on Instagram and TikTok, both at Transition Tribe 2045, and the Linktree is there. So really, what I need is I need to help the viewers. I need them to pass the word, right? Get the word out to our veterans that are getting out soon, or veterans that have been out for a little bit, maybe 6 months, and are having a hard time. So they can come join Transition Tribe 2045. We can give them a source of camaraderie, but also help them in the transition process, because we never leave a soldier, sailor, airman, veteran, marine, coast guardsman, space warrior. We never leave no one behind. We also should not have them transition out of the military alone.
Exactly. So what other services are do you anticipate? I understand that we're like very early in the process. You're looking at mentors. That's good, and I imagine this as a almost like you mentioned, a platoon sergeant and a platoon commander type, and then they kind of teach each other, right? Like a peer group.
Mhm. Yep.
What other services do you envision with this aside from like the moral support, aside from the resume writing and the interviewing? What else do you envision?
So we're looking at a Facebook group for
Mhm.
camaraderie. We're looking at obviously the tribe. Right now, right now we're looking at the process taking about 2 months. So you join a transition tribe, and it kind of takes you 2 months to go through. You meet once a week, and you get classes, you kind of talk, you kind of socialize. So you get the camaraderie, the cohesion, the teamwork, but then you also get these classes that are going to help you with transition. And right now, I have not decided if it's for profit or nonprofit yet, because there's challenges in both. So the
Yeah,
nonprofit, the problem with the nonprofit is funding. You have to get grants to maintain the funding, right? Um, the
that's right.
problem I ran into, the problem I ran into with funding is some people are like, well, veterans shouldn't have to pay; it should be free, uh, which I disagree with. I told the young lady who told me that the other night. She's like, "Well, you're taking advantage of service members. You shouldn't be they shouldn't be paying for that." And I said, "Here's the deal: when you give free stuff, there's no vested interest.
Mhm. That's right.
If I charge a little, for example, hypothetically, if I was to put you in a 2-month program and charge you, whatever, say $500, right? You put money in, you got skin in the game, right?
Yeah,
So
you're
the
vested in
deal
it.
is,
You're going to want to complete it. Yep.
yeah, if it's for profit, it's not going to be crazy expensive, right? Because I'm all about volume. I want to be able to help as many veterans as possible. I'm not in it for the money, but again, there are expenses of
Hmm.
running a business, right? Um, I'm retired, 100% combat disabled. I also have a civilian job where I work. Um, so it's not for the money. It's because currently we are not doing anything to help our veterans transition. We're not doing enough,
That's
and
right.
we need to do it better.
Okay. So do you? What I'm envisioning here is maybe having at least with like the profit coming in if it becomes a for-profit thing, um, bringing in like maybe counselors, like mental health counselors, people who have knowledge in that, who can sit around with maybe other veterans, and that could be a part of a class curriculum, right? Is that something you've thought about before, like having a certified mental health counselor there who can assist, maybe who has served at one point in time, who knows the process, who knows the troubles, the setbacks of somebody who has transitioned?
Um, I haven't really considered that because there's so many options out there for mental health and
Yeah,
for counseling. Um, so, I mean, that could be a possibility. Another possibility would be referring them to somebody. Um, you know, and again, we have to break the stigma of veterans seeking help. So, you know, some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. So, but that is an idea of having a counselor volunteer, maybe, to come in and kind of help facilitate a conversation with a group.
absolutely. Yeah. And I bet there's tons of like nonprofits out there who offer these type of counselings that would love to team up with something like Transition Tribe 2045. Just kind of get their word out about their nonprofit, as well as assist veterans who are currently going through that transition process. Yeah, yeah. One week, you hit it right on the head, Wayne. 1 week is not enough. Even more so, like you actually, when you're retiring, you get a choice. You don't have to sit through the first 2 days. I only got 3 days because I felt like I already had enough knowledge on a couple of things that they were covering on the first 2 days. So I went through 3 days of stuff. I'm not exactly sure if everybody has those options or not. Um, but yeah, after that, I was like, even a week, even taking it twice, because you can take it twice within 2 years, I think it is. It's
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely not enough. I mean, you're kind of sitting there, you're listening to people, and then I asked a question at one point, and I don't know if you've ever encountered this, but I asked a question at one point, and they did not know the answer, but they referred me to a website, and I couldn't even find that on a website. I couldn't even tell you what the question was anymore. But I mean, having somebody there who has gone through the process, man, that is crucial, I think.
Yeah, and another thing was I've talked to lots of guys and gals that have got out, and I said, "Hey, man, how was your transition?" Very very few have said they had no issues. Almost all of them said they have issues with transitioning.
It's a real thing, man. It is. Again, it goes back to the tribe, right? The loss of camaraderie, loss of tribe. I mean, even now, like we're about to hit the Marine Corps birthday, right? Coming up. And it's like, you're retired now. You may be away from the flagpole, living away from a base, living away from other Marines and stuff. And you're like, damn, I'm all by myself. I need somebody to talk to. And that's where your fellow tribe comes in. I mean, I have the luxury of living here in Southern California. There's a ton of veterans out here. I can, toss a stone and I can probably hit a Marine Corps ball somewhere around here. A lot of folks don't have that luxury. So maybe that's something you can incorporate there in there too, like kind of a celebration type of thing every year. Transition Tribe 2045, we're celebrating, your transition, your full transition to civilian life.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm just amazed that we don't do anything to address mental health in the transition out of the military.
Yeah.
And I ask a bunch of guys and gals, I'm like, hey, how would have it helped you if you would have had a group of guys and gals to support you going through this transition, helping you find another job? And they all said, man, that would have been like amazing. That would like probably
Mhm.
changed my experience.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So as how do you envision this whole thing? Like, is it going to be just an online mentorship thing, in person, meetup groups, different states? I mean, I know you're just starting off, so it's kind of hard to get the word out completely across the country. But how do you envision this in the next few months, and then maybe like a year or two down the line?
Yeah. So in the next few months, want to get the word out, right? Have veterans help get the word out. Have families help get the word out. Veterans groups, um,
I'm listening.
primarily, um, primarily be online, right? The first 3 6 months. But ideally, I would like to meet a couple times a year, um, in person, in different places throughout the country.
Give me a second there, Wayne. I having some technical difficulties. Of course, it has to happen. I'm live.
Yeah, so that's the vision, man. Is online, right? Use the online platforms, have veterans help, have veterans groups helps, maybe partner with a nonprofit like Combined Arms here in Texas. Uh, maybe maybe a nonprofit who's established, kind of help get the word out, and then refer some of our people to their resources, and then start meeting a couple times a year. But the first
Good,
key
good.
is getting the social media out there, getting people to understand that we're out there, what we provide, the value in it, spread the word to their friends, family, um, you know, brothers, sisters, mom, dads. Start using the resource.
It's all good, man. Yeah, I got a dog here too. He doesn't bark as much, but he's just kind of like just a little lazy little thing. I got you, man. Life happens. So where's this thing going to be
Start using
headquartered?
in Houston, Texas.
Okay, right on. So I assume that there's
There's
a whole lot of veterans out there in Houston, right? I mean, oh
so
shit,
there
all over
are.
Texas. Yeah, yeah, all over Texas.
Yeah,
No,
I mean
that's good,
Texas is
man.
veteran
Yeah,
friendly, but Houston has no bases, but there's a lot of very active VFW American Legion. Um, so there's a lot of veterans in Houston. It's a great location to fly internationally and
yeah.
nationally. Um, but yeah, that's the biggest thing, man. It's as if the audience could check out our social media, could pass the word about what we're doing, tell friends and family about it, have people start signing up and joining so we can form the tribes and kind of do the proof of principle and show the value in it, and start collecting the data and the numbers. Um, get the Facebook um, group going, right? And just start filling a gap that currently exists with how we transition these men and women out of the military. Because right now we're not doing a good job. We're not preparing them for that life changing transition out of the military. We recruit them, we train and equip them, but then we don't address the transition um, mentally out of the military into the civilian sector. And these are,
Right.
these are that 0.04% of the young men and women um, who selflessly served our country. So we have to take care of them, and we have to do better. And the way to do that is by transitioning them together with a support system, not sending them out of the military to go home alone and fight this challenge. They need to have a support system to help them.
Right. I completely get it. So, are you teaming up with, or are you planning to team up with any organizations or foundations or anything like that in the near future?
So I would like to. I am currently not, but if there's any organizations out there that want to partner or collaborate and kind of work together, um, I'm definitely open to conversation. But right now, it's just me. So yeah, we need to do what we can for now until we find someone to partner with.
Awesome, man. It's got to
That's why I
start
want to
somewhere,
focus on the
man.
power of yeah. That's when I started on the power of social media. And I got people's ideas, right? I called you, I called a couple other people, and I said, "Hey, man, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think?" Just to kind of get some feedback, right? Because
Right.
we all have ideas. Some are good, some are not good. So I was like, "All right, well, let me call a couple guys I know um, that have experience, um, and will like be a good sounding board, right? Like say, hey, man, you're good, or like, no, you're kind of like off the mark." So I called you, called a couple other retirees,
Yeah.
and the feedback I got was all positive and all like, yeah, how can I be involved? This is a great idea. It's something that is problematic that we need to fix. We've relied upon the government to take care of veterans for a long time. Um, but when it comes to transition, they haven't done a good job, right? The government
Yeah.
is large, the VA is large. 200,000 people leave the military annually. So what I really want to do is I want veterans to help veterans solve this transition dilemma and
Yeah.
help improve the process. Don't rely upon no one else. We have the tools. We all have experience and education. We can do this together and we can help each other and make it better.
That sounds great, man. And if more power to you if you can get on base too and spread the word about this. I've tried that in the past. It hasn't really worked out for me, but if you can get in there and spread the word about these, the first term folks, more power to you, man. That would help out a ton, especially for folks who are like, hey, I don't know what to do with my life after 4 years. A lot of them, I imagine, go to school, but what happens after that if they can't find a job? They have that feeling of loss and all that. They can always turn to Transition Tribe 2045. That's good. So what are
The
the
base
go ahead, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
said the bases are hard because just like TAPS and TRS, we went through it. The commander wants you at work. You know, they want you in the field.
Hmm.
They want you cleaning rifles. They want you doing your annual training.
That's right.
Um, so the bases are not they're not very receptive to having you give service members more stuff to do, right? So that's why I said, okay, cool. There's Marines in the barracks. There's soldiers, sailors, airmen in the barracks on social media at night during the day. So I said, okay, cool. Let's attack this via social media to get the word out.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Right where everybody is after hours. That's good. So Wayne, where can folks find out more about Transition Tribe? Like, give me, throw out your, you can even put it in the chat here. Throw out your social media links, your name, and all that, and we'll put it on the chat here for everybody to see.
Yep. So we are on we're not on Facebook. So we're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And then I have the link to my Linktree that I put in here where you can contact me,
Yeah,
set up a 30-minute appointment, and we can basically find out, have a conversation, right? So no AI, no bots. It'll be me. I'll talk to you, be like, hey, when are you getting out? What's your plan? What do you want to do? How are you feeling about your transition?
yeah,
So yeah, they can set up an appointment and we can talk for 30 minutes about what their goals are, how we can help them out, and if we're a good fit, and we can start forming those transition tribes. And we can start getting this moving to show the value, get feedback from the participants to say, yeah, this is a good idea, keep doing this, or like, you know what, I didn't get a whole lot of value out of that. And then we can kind of modify our curriculum to do what's best to help that young man and woman who's getting out of the military transition. So the Linktree, like I said, Instagram, Transition Tribe 2045, TikTok, Transition Tribe 2045. There's my Linktree link where they can go on Google, set an appointment, and I'll call and talk to them, and we'll discuss basically a way ahead and getting them started in the transition process so we can form the tribes, show the value, and start helping young men and women transition together and not alone.
That's excellent, man. I think that your goal and your mission here is essential, and I know it's going to be successful because we have folks leaving every month from the military from all branches of service, and yeah, 100% beneficial, absolutely. And this serves any branch of service, right, Wayne, or is it just a certain type?
Oh yeah,
Any branch?
nope, I don't care. I don't care what branch, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. I don't care your rank. If you're a colonel or a lance corporal or a specialist, or a tech sergeant, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, none of that stuff matters because you were a selfless individual, part of that 0.04% of America that raised their hand and said, hey, I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That is what matters. And those are the individuals that we want to help because those are our best and brightest, and they're the future of America. We want to help them out.
I like that. I like that, Wayne. Each one, teach one. That's resounding, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Anything else you want to share about Transition Tribe 2045 to get the last word out on any of this?
Yeah, the last thing I would ask the audience,
Yeah.
man, is like, share, follow, pass the word to your friends, family members, moms, dads, brothers, sisters. Transition Tribe 2045. We're on TikTok and we're also on Instagram. Let's work together as a veteran community to make this better than what we had, but also make it better for future generations. We have to make sure that when these young men and women leave the military, they're not transitioning alone and they're transitioning together. We owe that to our veterans.
Excellent, man. And I think I just joined your Facebook group as well, so I'm looking forward to sharing some good content on there. And everybody else who's watching, please join me in joining the Facebook group as well and all the other platforms. Wayne, it has been awesome. Thank you for sharing the information. I 100% support the mission, and I believe that 100% that it will be a success. Thank you a lot for coming on and sharing that.
Yep. Hey, thank you. Have a great weekend. And thank you to those veterans who selflessly served our country. Enjoy your day Monday. We only celebrate you one day out of the year, but you are definitely celebrated daily for serving our country. And we thank you.
Absolutely.